Hello students, good morning and welcome back to the online class. So in the previous class I completed the theory part on joint venture and I sent to the PDF of that theory part, right? So I assume you have copied down the theory part. Now we'll move to the illustrations. So practicals on the joint venture chapter. Okay, we'll start with a small problem. So you take down this problem. So take down fast. Okay, see ya. So before I start with the solution part, so we'll just discuss the problem. So before that, so in a joint venture, you have to prepare the three main ledger accounts, that is joint venture, co-venture, and joint bank, which is asked here. So apart from these three ledger accounts, they might ask you to prepare the shares account. Okay, so in the illustration, in the problems, if they mention about the shares, then you have to prepare the shares account also. Okay, in the coming illustrations, we'll prepare one share, we will have one problem on the shares. Okay, but mainly if you consider the shares account, you have to prepare four major ledger accounts. Okay, that is joint ventures account, co-venturers account, joint bank account, and shares account. And one more thing. So the transactions what is given in the problem, you have to pass two entries on that, because when you pass the journal entry, you have the debit as well as the credit. Means every transaction is to be recorded on the two ledger accounts. So in these four major ledger accounts, the transactions should be recorded in the two ledger accounts. Okay. So one by one, we will see where it will appear. Okay. So now, what is joint venture means? Anything that it is like a P&L account. It is like a trading account. Okay. In manufacturing sector, trading sector, or non-trading sector, you are going to prepare trading P&L account, or the in non-trading sector, you are going to prepare income and expenditure. In a joint venture, it is similar to trading P&L account or income or expenditure account. The balancing figure is either profit or loss, which is to be transferred to co-ventures, because they are the partners. We'll call it as a partners, okay, or the parties. Okay, now we'll discuss the problem. Arun and Varun entered into a joint venture for dealing in second-hand cars. So they have entered into the ventures to deal with the second-hand cars, buying and selling. It was agreed that Arun should buy cars. So Arun is going to buy the car. Varun is going to recondition them. Recondition means either replacement of any parts, repairing the parts. Okay, if there is any fault, you are going to make it right, or you are replacing the some parts. That is what reconditioning. So Arun is going to buy the cars. Varun is going to recondition them. The profit and loss should be divided equally. So the in joint venture, the balancing figure is either treated as profit or loss, which is to be distributed among the venturers, co-venturers, equally. Okay, so it should be equally divided. Now next, Arun contributed 1,50,000, Varun contributed 80,000. Means when they come together to form a to go on with the venture, start with the venture, they have to contribute the money, the capital. Okay, so now what is the journal entry? So you have to think in the point of view of the company. Okay, always you have to think in the point of view of the company. Now you are the company. There are two venturers in front of you, that is Arun and Varun. Now they are going to invest. They are going to contribute the money. Means you are the receiver, but you are the company. You cannot write your name. So what you are going to receive? Cash. So usually the larger amount, it is always received in check. Now check means the check is to be received by the bank, but in joint venture account you call it as a joint bank. So joint bank account debit. Why joint bank account debit? Because banker will be the receiver of the check. Now who is the giver? The co-venturers. Who are the co-venturers? First one is the Arun and the other one is the Varun. If you want, you can take down this journal entry. So Arun and Varun is known as, when I was explaining the theory part, I explained you this, right? The parties in the joint ventures are known as co-venturers. Okay, they are known as co-venturers. So this transaction, which one? The Arun contributed the money. This has to be recorded in joint bank account, because the debit we have joint bank has been debited. Then it should be recorded in the co-venturers, because co-venturers, that's Arun and Varun, is credited. So the first transaction that will affect your co-venturers and joint bank account. Okay, if you want, you can take down the journal entries. Joint bank account actor to Arun's account to Varun's account. Okay, next one. So they purchases 7 cars for rupees 1,85,000 from joint bank account. Okay, so they purchase. It is not the individual person is purchasing from his pocket, but they are purchasing from account, that is ventures account. So the car is to be recorded in joint venture because to start the business you need material. Now, what is the business of Arun and Varun? To sell the car. So, car purchasing itself is the material. Listen, if you want to manufacture something, you have to purchase material, right? You are manufacturing some coffee powder. The coffee what you buy, that is a raw material. If you want to manufacture chocolates, the cocos, the chocolates what you buy, that is the raw materials. If you want to construct the, or if you are a furniture maker, then the wood is the wood is the raw material, means that is the main item. Now you are into a dealing business of second hand car, means the second hand car itself your material, so it should go to the joint venture. So what is the journal entry? It is joint ventures account debit. Why joint ventures account debit? Means buying cars is an expenses. Buying car is an expenses. So joint bank account debit to, sorry, it is joint ventures account debit, not joint bank account, because it's an expenses, you need to debit it. Expenses is debited, right? Expenses are debited, so joint venture account should be debited because you are buying the car. So joint venture account debit to joint bank account. If you want, you can take those. Why it is credited? Because your cash goes out, so it is to joint banker has to give the money. So where it is recorded once in the joint venture and the other one that is in the twice, that is the second transactions, sorry, second posting in the joint bank account. Okay, you have to post it twice, once one in the joint venture and this another one here in the joint bank account. Okay. Okay, next one. Arun paid, see here, it is Arun paid rupees 2,100 for insurance and 1,300 for advertising personally. From his pocket he paid 2,100 as insurance and 1,300 as advertising expenses. You studied in consignment, right? When consignee pays the, if incur the expenses, you write their name. Here if anything that is paid out of joint bank, then you have to write joint bank's account. If anything that is paid personally, then you have to write their name. Okay. So the journal entry is, now who is the payer of the money? That is the Arun. Arun is the giver. So two. Giver means two. What is the journal entry? To Arun's account. Now what is debit? The expenses, right? Insurance and advertising is an expenses. Expenses to be debited to joint venture. So joint ventures account debit to Arun's account. Under that you have to write, okay, in joint venture you have to write to Arun. Under that you have to write insurance 2,100, advertising 1,300. So continuation part, I will just continue with another sentence. Varun paid 1,800 for repairing batteries, 3,300 for repairing tires, 6,400 for other repairs. It is paid by Varun. So the journal entry will be joint venture account debit to Varun's account, to Varun's account. Okay. If anything that is paid personally by the venturers, then you have to write their name, okay, not the joint bank. Okay, what next? The next sentence. Okay, the next sentence. Arun sold 2 cars for 66,000. Varun sold 4 cars for 1,33,600. It is not that they personally sold the cars. It is a joint venture. When you sell the cars, you are going to receive the money, which amount were credited to bank account. They sold, they credited to bank account. Means something that is recorded in the company's books of account. Bank credited to bank means company के तंदा किधर है और so it is the income sale, so that to be recorded. See there, expenses and income should be recorded in joint venture. So what is the journal entry? When the cars sell, you have, when you sell the cars, you are going to receive the money, but here you have to debit the joint bank. That's all. Instead of cash, joint bank. 2, any income or expenses to be recorded in joint venture account. So journal entry, joint bank account debit to joint venture. So once it is recorded in joint venture, and the other thing that is recorded in bank account. In the previous entries, once it to be recorded in joint venture, and the other thing, the second posting is in the co-venturers account. Okay, because the venturers have paid the money. Okay, next. Arun took over remaining cars, means that is personal. Here, the previous sentence where Arun and Varun sold the cars, but the amount has been credited to the bank account means they have sold it, the amount has been put to the company's bank account, the venture's bank account. But the last sentence says that Arun took over the remaining cars, means a personal. So when he takes the car, Arun's account to be debited because Arun is the receiver, right? He is going to receive the car, but it is like a sale, means income. The venture will get income, right? Whoever takes the car, it is not so it is not necessary for the ventures, it is not necessary for the companies, but they bother only that either it is sold to the outsider or it is taken by the venturers. They have to receive the cash. That is what their objectives. Whoever maybe, yeah, whoever can take the assets from the company, but they have to pay them cash. So the journal entry will be Arun's account debit to joint venture, because again this is the income. So once it should be recorded in joint ventures account, and another thing that to be recorded in co-venturers, but under Arun's account only. Co-venturers Arun na column ali matra baribeku, only in the column of Arun. Okay. So now we'll start with the ledger account. So right, draw the lines. Joint venture account. Okay, this is the first one. Now you have to record those transactions which affect joint venture. Okay, the first one, that is contribution. So contribution, that is to be recorded in co-ventures account, and that to be recorded in joint bank account. You have passed the journal entry, right? So this will not come in joint venture. The next one, the purchases of 7 cars for 1,85,000 from joint bank. So what is the journal entry? Joint venture account debit to joint bank. So joint venture you have to record here, right? So the entry to joint bank account. Okay, means you have to record only those transactions which will come or affect the ventures account, which is to be recorded here. Okay, next one. Arun paid 2,100 for insurance, 1,300 for advertising personally. So what is the journal entry? Joint venture account debit. Why joint venture we debited? Because it is expenses to Arun's account, right? To Arun's account. Under that, insurance 2,100, advertising 1,300. Next one, Varun. So it is to Varun's account. So he had paid the repairing for battery. So battery repairs, repairing tires. So tire repairs, then other repairs. 1,800, 3,300, 6,400. It comes to 11,500. Okay, next one, that is sale. Sale means by joint bank account, because you are going to receive the money. By joint bank account, under that two cars sold for 66,000. It is not 66,000 each, okay? It is 66,000 is not the value of one car, it is the total value. Either they have to give per car or each, okay? Then you have to multiply by the number of cars. So 66,000 plus 1,33,600. Okay, next one. Arun took over the remaining cars. By Arun's account, 25,000. That is car taken over. Okay, now the balancing figure is either treated as profit or loss. So profit or loss, it should be taken to the co-ventures account. Okay, if it is profit, then a debit side to co-venturers. If your credit side is more than your debit side, credit means income. So your credit side is more than debit side, then the balancing figure you have to write here, right? To balance. So to co-ventures account, that is profit. If your debit side is more than your credit side, means it is loss because your expenses is more. So by co-ventures, okay, but here I think your debit side is more. So write two co-ventures account Arun and Varun. Two co-ventures account Arun and Varun. Now you do the total. So this is nothing but balancing figure. Okay, you have to apportion the balancing figure, that is profit. In this problem, your credit side is more than debit, so it is profit. So this to be apportioned on to Arun and Varun on the basis of the ratio. Here the profit and losses is equally distributed. So it is divided equally means you have to divide it equally. Otherwise they will give the ratios. If in the absence of the ratios, you take it as equal. Okay. ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ರೇಷಿಯೋಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಆದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಅಂತ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಓಕೆ, if the ratios, the profit and loss sharing ratios is not given, then you treat it that they are the equal venturers, then you can apportion them equally. So now you do the total it comes to 2,24,600. Now you find the difference and you write here. Don't write anything inside the column, that I will tell you how to apportion. You write here in this column, okay, Arun Varun. In that, the last partner, the last venture ka column, that is in the amount side, your amount column, right, not the inner column. Okay, the difference, you don't see this. Okay, you just see this. 24,700 is the difference. 2,24,600 is the total. From that you have to deduct 1,85,000, 3,400, 11,500. You will get 24,700. Now this should be apportioned in what ratio? Equally. So in here you write 24,700 into 1 by 2, 24,700 into 1 by 2. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನೀವು ಯಾವ ಸೈಡ್ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಉಂಟು ಅಂತ ಅದನ್ನು ಟೋಟಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಉಂಟ ಫಿಗರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಕೋವೆಂಚರರ್ಸ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಯಾವ ಸೈಡ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಉಂಟು ಆ ಸೈಡ್ ನೀವು ಕೋವೆಂಚರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೆದು ಅದರ ಕೆಳಗೆ ನೀವು ವೆಂಚರರ್ಸ್ ನ ಹೆಸರನ್ನು ಬರಿಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ವೆಂಚರರ್ಸ್ ನ ಹೆಸರು. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಉಂಟ ಅಂತ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀರಿ. ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದ ಮೇಲೆ ಆ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ಅವರು ಕೊಟ್ಟ ರೇಷಿಯೋಸ್ ಅನುಪಾತ, ಅವರು ಕೊಟ್ಟ ರೇಷಿಯೋಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಅಪೋರ್ಷನ್, ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕೋವೆಂಚರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, So in this problem, my difference is 24,700 into half. It is equal. So half. Each venturers will get 12,350. So this is joint venture account. If any expenses you pay from joint bank account, then you have to write two joint bank account. You have to write the expenses below that, then you have to add it and you have to take it to the outer column. That's all. Okay. So it is very easy. The next ledger account, co-venturers account. You studied admission, you studied retirement, right? Same way. Yeah. Instead of you write partners capital account, you call it as co-venturers account. Now you have to see the problem. Before you record the transaction, the first transaction is always the contribution made by the co-venturers. Without contribution, you cannot proceed, right? ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಮಾಡದೆ ನೀವು ಪ್ರೊಸೀಡ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಬೇರೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಯಾವುದೇ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಕೋವೆಂಚರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಬರಲಿ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನೀವು ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅನ್ನು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಎನಿ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್, ಎನಿವೇರ್ ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಗಿವನ್, but first you have to record the contribution, then you go for the other transaction. So what is the journal entry? Where is the contribution entry? Here it is. Arun contributed 1,50,000, Varun contributed 80,000. What is the journal entry? The journal entry is joint bank account debit to Arun's account to Varun's account. Now Arun and Varun were here they are, right? In co-ventures they are. So in co-ventures we treat it as a co-venturers, right? So in Arun's and Varun you have to credit it by joint bank. So it is by joint bank account. This is the contribution figure. Next you see the joint ventures account. Now you have to see whether there is the venturers entry in joint venture. Here you can see two Arun's account, two Varun's account. So it is, if it is two, then joint venture will be by, right? If this is the debit, this is the credit. So in co-venturer, that is Arun's and Varun's account, you have to record by joint venture. So it is by joint venture 3,400. That is the expenses incurred by Arun. You go for the, you see the joint venture account to Arun's account. You have added the two figure 2,100 and 1,300. You got 3,400. Next you return. Next you pass the journal entry, that is to Arun's account, right? Under that you have written repairing of batteries, repairing of tires, other expenses, other repairs. 1,800, 3,300, 6,400. You got 11,500. Again you see joint venture. Is there any other entries that is relating to the co-venturers? Here it is by Arun's account. By Arun means it is two joint venture. If it is by Arun, two joint venture. Okay, before that the debit side you have written two co-venturers, right? Debit side you have written two co-venturers. Two co-venturers means it is nothing but in co-ventures account it is by joint venture. Debit side you see, debit side the last entry, that is two co-venturers Arun and Varun, means Arun's account and Varun's account you have debited, means to Varun to Arun, means joint venture, that is by. So in co-venturers account it is by joint venture, that is 12,350, 12,350. This entry to co-venturers account means it is by joint venture. Now you can record this two joint venture account, because there it is by Arun's account, here it is two joint venture, and you have to write the amount in Arun's account only, because there you written it as a by Arun. Varun ka entry you have not passed that. You passed only the Arun ka entry, right? So in Arun's column only, ಅಲ್ಲಿ Arun entry pass ಮಾಡಿದ ಕಾರಣ Arun column ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಬೇಕು. Okay, what next? Is there any other entries? No. So the balancing figure is transferred to joint bank account, that is final settlement. Everything is done. Now we will do the settlement. Is anything is receivable by the venturers or anything that will be extra to be paid to the venturers, that is what final settlement. Now you do the total and the difference you have to write here. Okay, you do the total of Arun column, you write in the under Arun's column only, then deduct the debit balance, you will get the difference from Arun. Same way, Varun's column you have to do the total, you have to deduct, there is nothing to deduct. So you write under two joint bank account under Varun's column. So do it, find the total. Open, open. So the total is 1,65,750, that is Arun column. 1,03,850, that is Varun's column. Now what you have to do? From this 1,65,750 you have to deduct 25,000 and you have to write here. From 1,03,850 you have to deduct nothing to deduct, so you write here. So two joint bank account, 1,47,50 and 1,03,850. This you have to record in joint bank account. So if you're done with joint venture, then we'll move to the next last ledger account, that is joint bank account. Joint bank account. Okay, first, see here, you have to see only the joint bank entry. Okay, here it is two joint bank, means this is by joint venture. It is two joint bank, it is by joint venture. Here it is by joint bank, means it is two joint venture. First you write by joint venture. See, joint venture account debit side you have written two joint bank 1,85,000. In a joint bank account it is by joint ventures account 1,85,000. Okay, next. Here it is by joint bank account 1,99,600, means this is two. Two joint venture 1,99,600. Next one. So joint ventures account is done. We had only two joint bank entry, that is we recorded. Now you have to see the co-venturers. Okay, after joint venture you come to the co-venturers. Okay, step by step. Here it is by joint bank account, means it is two co-venturers. Instead of you write two co-venturers, you can write two Arun's account, two Arun's account, because we have separate figure, right? So what you can do, it is by joint bank, means it is two Arun, two Arun's account 1,50,000, two Arun's account 80,000. Okay, next. Here it is two joint bank, means this is by Arun, by Varun. You write this figure. By Arun's account 1,47,50, by Varun's account 1,03,850. So that is done. So we have recorded everything. So your joint bank account should tally. Okay. So always your joint bank account will tally. So the total is 4,29,600. Your joint bank account should tally. It is like a balance sheet, but you are not preparing balance sheet. Why you are not preparing balance sheet? So in the first time I've explained why we are preparing balance sheet, because if you are preparing balance sheet means your business is continued. At the end of every year you are going to prepare the balance sheet means the next year your business will continue. If you are closing your business, then you are not preparing balance sheet, you are going to prepare bank account. Why bank means final settlement. The final settlement is done and we are closing the company. So if you prepare the balance sheet means it is continuous, going concern concept. Balance sheet is prepared because of going concern concept. Okay, now this is the first illustration on joint venture, and we will see the different type of problem in joint venture in the coming classes. Okay, I hope you understood this problem. Again, you just go through the problem solution part. If you have any doubt, you can contact me. Okay, so remaining we'll see in the next class. Thank you.